One of the most interesting studies that have been published in the recent years on the door in the face technique is the study by Terrier and colleagues, published in the journal Current Research in Social Psychology in the year 2011. Requesters' acceptance and non-acceptance on the refusal of the initial request. How to improve the door in the face effects. So they tried to boost the effectiveness of the door in the face technique by inducing more guilt. So their door in the face technique, which they tested on 168 female students, was to tell them, well, we are from a humanitarian organization and we are looking for volunteers helping needy people, and your job would be to prepare food baskets and provide support to people in difficulty. And in order to establish long-term contacts, which is important for these needy people, your presence would be needed every weekend during at least 1 year. So every weekend for 1 year is a lot of time. And of course, again, the experimenters knew that almost no one would agree on that. So when the female students said, no, sorry, I can't do that, they were offered the second, smaller request, which was, and now I quote from the study, "In the coming weeks we will need occasional help. Could you give us a hand just one Saturday? Would you be interested?" In comparison to the control condition, in which only this second small request was put forward, there was already an increase in compliance rates of almost 25%. So this was the classical door in the face technique. But in order to induce guilt and in order to boost the effectiveness of the door in the face technique, in another condition, the experimenter said right after he had put forward the large request that he could not really understand, given the help that brings it to the people, that anybody would say no to this large request. I mean, look what you could do to help the other people. So by saying this, the female students might have thought, yeah, it's right, one should help the people, but it's so much time, I cannot do it. And when then, in the next step, the smaller request was put forward to help just on one Saturday, the students saw a possibility to get rid of this guilt. And therefore the compliance rate in this condition was about 74% in comparison to about 29% in the control condition and in comparison to the 52% in the classic door in the face condition. Also very interesting is a fourth group in which they did the opposite. This time they did not say, well, I don't understand why anybody would turn this offer down. This time they said, well, and now I quote again, "Despite how helpful this may be, I understand that some people are unable to accept." So this time the students did not have to feel that guilty because the other person already said she would understand if they rejected the request. So these are very interesting results, and they tell us that the effectiveness of the door in the face technique, at least in part, is based on guilt. And it tells us then whenever anybody tries to induce guilt in us, maybe with this kind of door in the face technique, we should take a step back and think about the situation. Is this legitimate, or is he indeed using our conscientiousness in order to make us comply with his request?